German Chancellor Angela Merkel has gone into home quarantine after a doctor who treated her was diagnosed with the coronavirus. On Friday, Merkel, who is 65, was vaccinated against a different virus by the doctor who later tested positive for COVID-19. Merkel's spokesman says she will now undergo daily testing. Her last act before going into quarantine was to announce sweeping restrictions on freedom of movement and social interaction.
Angela Merkel, about to announce the most severe restrictions on freedom of movement seen in Germany since World War II. The coronavirus continues to spread rapidly, convincing the Chancellor that further containment measures are needed. So far, it had largely been left to states and municipalities to curb the contagion, creating a patchwork of rules and guidelines. The new measures will be rolled out across Germany.
We have discussed today how our countermeasures are working. We have no vaccine and we have no drug against the disease. All we have are firstly the efforts we are making to prepare our healthcare system, especially hospitals, for the expected continued high rise in infections. And secondly, our own behavior. That is currently our most effective measure.
In a video conference, Merkel and state leaders decided to ban gatherings of more than 2 people, excluding families and housemates. She thanked the population for observing measures and guidelines already in place.
I know that it entails sacrifice, both economically and on a personal level, when shops have to close and it's not possible to socialize. It's even more painful not being able to visit grandparents or meet friends. We all have to live without this for a while. I am deeply touched that so many people are following those rules.
Within an hour of Merkel leaving the press conference, news she was going into quarantine broke. The Chancellor has put herself at the front and center of Germany's response to the pandemic. Angela Merkel now gets to lead by example.
Well, for more, let's cross straight over to our political correspondent, Kate Brady. Kate, Angela Merkel is now at home in quarantine. What does this mean for her and her ability to govern?
Well, so far we know that she will be continuing to work, at least as much as possible from work. Now, the cabinet meeting, the usual Monday cabinet meeting, will be taking place today, and she will be participating most likely via video or by a telephone conference call. But the idea is that it will very much be business as usual here. Of course, there's still constant changes here in Germany to be dealt with, possible new measures later this week, but particularly when it comes to financial aid as well here in Germany. We're expecting to see a supplementary budget come out this week of up to 156 billion euros. That would be around 43% of Germany's normal yearly budget. So there's still a lot to be done here in Germany. And of course, Angela Merkel will be trying to participate in as much of that as possible while she remains at home in self-quarantine.
When will we find out, Kate, whether the Chancellor actually has COVID-19?
Well, all we know so far is that the government spokesperson, Stefan Seibert, actually said yesterday that Angela Merkel will be tested regularly in the coming days. But so far, we don't yet have a test result. But of course, that will be published and made public as soon as we have it.
Now, just before it was announced that Chancellor was going into quarantine, she announced new restrictions on movement and social interaction. Tell us more about those restrictions.
Well, one of the biggest new measures is that groups of more than 2 people are now banned in Germany. Now, excluded from that new measure are families and people that you might live with in a house share, for example. But this is a big measure that's being implemented nationwide today. Now, people are, however, still allowed to travel to the grocery stores, to work, if they can prove that they're on their way to help someone, for example. But of course, this is also being implemented in different ways ways around the country as well. For here in Berlin, in the city-state of Berlin, for example, local authorities, the police here are asking people to now carry some piece of identification on them at all times as well, so that they can check indeed where they live and see where they might be going. But we did indeed over the weekend see a decrease, at least here in the capital, of people gathering in large groups. It seems that people have started to listen here and adhere to the advice that's being given not only by health experts but also by the German Chancellor Angela Merkel to stay at home wherever possible, because right now the implementation of these measures and staying at home and reducing the risk of spreading this virus as much as possible is all about winning time and flattening that curve to minimize the spread of COVID-19.
Kate, thank you so much. That was our political correspondent, Kate Brady.